Okay, I have a really, really special treat for you guys today. This was a special treat for me as well. Just even being in the presence of Keren, who has become one of my absolute, like, she's part of my heart. I don't know. I feel like the work that she puts out into the world, which is exactly matched up with the trueness of who she is. I feel like it's like when I'm around her, I can breathe more easily. Like, I feel like there's a true co-creation, and I think that you guys are going to feel that. I think that you're going to be able to see yourselves in a way in this interview that perhaps you haven't before. We're going to talk about her book as well, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. The way that she actually took kind of the energy and the language around so many of these concepts that we talk about, spiritual concepts, and she brought it down to earth in a way that it's a step-by-step, but not a step-by-step. And this speaks true to my heart because, I'm writing a book right now as well. And it's very non-linear. And that's what she's done as well with Guilt-Free, is put something where the linear nature has been taken out of it so that you can see you, because we're not linear beings, as she said in the beginning of the interview. We are dynamic. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy getting to know her, listening to her, also getting a bit of a beginning take on this amazing book. And her story at the end about money is just mind-blowing. So yeah, enjoy. If you've been listening to this podcast, you're probably already doing the work, and I'm so grateful for that. You understand energy, you know that you want to call in more money, and you want to expand it through investing. Maybe you've even started investing, or maybe you're even just thinking about it. Either way, we have something called Expanding Money, which is a free 5-part series that I did that is absolutely shifting people's worlds. It takes them from identity and agreement to the things that they don't even know they're agreeing to a place of money neutrality and investing as part of who they are and an effortless way of being. When you are calling in more money and you are using a portion of that money to expand to support you, then what you've done is you have actually pulled energy down and then you've taken it back into the 3D as a way for you to work for you. You must expand money in this economy because it's just the way that it's set up, the cost of living and income and all that. So investing isn't an option anymore, and I would love for it to be a fun, super creative act for you. So all 5 parts are available for you for free on thespiritualinvestor.com/expandingmoney. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I barely can't speak. That's probably not even like the right phrase to say, but I have been so looking forward to hanging out with you and just being with you, and you being the voice to this, which is absolutely incredible. So I just asked you, what is your intention? Because that's typically my answer or my question to people. So what's your intention today?
My first intention is to help people maybe hear, I'm sure they've heard it a million times because I've heard it a million times on your podcast, but to hear very crystal clearly what they're doing wrong so that they can get out of their own way and make it rain. And the second is to spend quality time with my very favorite person in the whole world, Elizabeth Ralph.
Oh my God, thank you for both of those. I mean, first of all, even if you did not have this, right? I mean, you speaking to someone, what comes through you in literally just 60 seconds has always blown my mind. So having this on top of that is just, I feel like it's kind of the cream on the crop. But let's just jump in with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's just jump in with this doing things wrong. Doing things wrong, kind of, what do you think about that?
Okay, so the first book is called Gilded, Gilded, just in case anybody doesn't understand what that means. It means covered in fake gold, or gold-plated. And guilt-free, which sounds like G-U-I-L-T free, is actually guilt-free, G-I-L-T free. And that is without any of the varnish and any of the superficial nonsense that we use to cover up the fact that we are in fact human, flawed, and therefore whole. The opposite of the understanding that is required is to just get that most of what you're doing, that you think you're doing right, is actually wrong. And that's basically the beginning and the end of the premise. It's why I wrote Gilded, and why, after seeing so many people continue to get stuck, I decided to write a sequel that allowed them to go even deeper and probe at this. The basic premise is, the vast majority of people, which is hard for us to believe, right, Elizabeth, because we're so mired in this stuff, but even in 2026, still have this idea, this expectation that life is supposed to be linear, that there is a certain way to do things that begets certain results. Particularly those of us who are in the high achiever category, which only means we have a fucked up relationship to effort. We work really hard, we're very intense, and we tend to hold eye contact like Elizabeth does. Those kinds of people get it really, really wrong, because we truly latch onto the linear, and we're trying to check things off of our boxes as we go through life. Now, I say this slightly facetiously, because in 2026, I really hope a lot of people have already understood there is no box, there is no linear, there's no playing this way anymore. But if some people out there still have a delusion that there is linearity, Gilded and Guilt-Free are meant to help you to behaviorally change not only your thinking, but also your actions and your decisions, literally to oppositional decisions that will get you the results that you actually want. So if you've been trying, like I did most of my life, to do things the right way, and you still got the wrong results, like I did, try it. This is not a question of making people unethical or anything like that. It's literally question your impulses, learn how to think, make correct decisions.
Oh my God, there's so much to unpack from that. I have to tell you though, look at the thing here, right? Just even the way that you phrase this. So you said, "What am I no longer willing to live inside?" Like, to me, that sounds like you're just cutting to the chase of like people's standards almost. Like, it's almost, I don't know, the way that I kind of see it for myself is I'm like, I'm just not doing it anymore. Like, I get to a point where I'm just like, I'm just not going to be that anymore, right? But I think what I got from this book is that, yeah, we can get there and we can have that conversation, but what you said, and I forget the way you phrased it, you said something about like, but the internal conversation, that's one thing, but it's what happens after the internal conversation. I think that's what this book really helps people do, is you call it embodiment, right? You said this without spiritually bypassing, and it's about embodiment. Can you talk a little bit more?
Here's what I mean by that. I mean, put your money where your mouth is. There's a huge difference between learning the language of spirituality, being able to regurgitate Esther Hicks, and I've heard people at every single Abraham Hicks seminar regurgitate the verbiage of Abraham Hicks and not understand the work. Until you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, meaning to make decisions externally and to follow through on them, to really show yourself that the opposite does work, that the different action does work, you are not actually going to move outside of anyone's standards that is yours, because what you've absorbed most of your life, what you're living inside, is a gilded cage. The dominant metaphor of these books is the idea of a gilded cage. It's fancy, it's shiny, but it's a cage. And that means basically the trappings of the world's opinions, the system's opinions, and the people around you, their opinions, the conditioning that you've absorbed. Internally, we start to really realize what hopefully Elizabeth Ralph realized, which is, I can't do this anymore. I'm not living this way anymore. This is not the way I want to live. Like when you saw that kangaroo on the beach and we're like, I am not going to work in this corporate situation that is anathema to my soul anymore. You've had many realizations like this and built a life that is genuine and authentic to who you truly are. But the only way you got from epiphany on the beach to life that is genuine is by putting your money where your mouth is, again and again and again. And that's embodiment. To give you a tiny, tiny example, okay? My parents taught me that you get money in and then you spend money. It does not work investing and taking risks without first bringing in income. One of the things I had to learn was invest and the money will come. That is putting your money where your mouth is. Literally just going, I'm going to learn how to play a different ball game around here. And after a while, it becomes who you are. It becomes how you move.
Yes. I love this. You know, for me, it was, I had to choose it over and over again. Like you talk about the kangaroo thing, right? But I had to choose it from an indirect place, because if I were to make the choice based on what I felt like doing, let's say 3 years after that sort of, lightning bolt download came in, then it would not have tied to that, right? I had to make the choice, but I had to cut my ties to my current circumstances. Like I remember one time my friend, she called me and, she was on the boat out at the lake, and I was in the corporate job, and I was, I had a few minutes, and I was walking around on Market Street in San Diego, and I remember she's like, "But don't you wish that you were here?" And I was like, "No, because I've chosen that I'm not there." Another version of me would, I'd love to be on the ski boat with all of my friends from college, right? What do you, because I feel like that's kind of what, I feel like that's where people get thrown off. And I feel like that's what this book is doing, is it's actually giving people a structure for that, which is massive.
Yeah. So the reason I felt compelled to do that in the first half of Guilt Free, even though Gilded really does already walk you out onto that ledge, is it shows you that there are areas in which you're still not playing to win. You're playing not to lose, which means you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. And that means what you're still operating from is what you're afraid to lose rather than what you want to gain. And as long as you're playing from what you're afraid to lose and you're not willing to lose it, you are unfortunately still tethered to your gilded cage, if not inside the gilded cage. And the 3 examples that I walk people through and dismantle for them, or hopefully structurally help them dismantle, are FOMO, obligation, and just the ideas of popularity in general, the beholdenness to popularity and to comparisons. Until you're willing to not give a tiny rat's ass about not being on the boat, not just that you made a different choice, but you genuinely are just happy for them that they're on the boat, and you're completely okay with the fact that you're not on the boat at present because you have other things to do, you are not entirely free. And so the way to getting free, the first thing before I teach you the framework for living free, you have to actually untether yourself from those things. You have to learn how to break free. And as you know, I also say you should expect an enlightenment detour. It's not going to go easy. A lot of people still expect things from you. A lot of things still operate from the premise that you are a certain way. And so you'll sort of have to break off from that on your way up. And that's why we're so afraid to do it, right? Most of us, we know that on the other side there's a rainbow, but we're kind of afraid that there might not be a rainbow, and therefore I don't want to let go of what I got.
Right, because at least if I think there's a rainbow, then I can keep that in my imagination.
Yeah.
But what if I actually go over there and there's not one? Then that's a whole form of reality that maybe I don't want to get.
And that's really where it becomes quite sad, because you never really break free. I'm guaranteeing Elizabeth is here to do one thing, and that's guarantee that there's a rainbow. We are living proof of the rainbow. So, for example, when I in coaching, I coach many overachievers who happen to be in really difficult marriages. They know that the leaving of the marriage is the path to salvation. They know that I am remarried, and very happily so.
Yes.
And not only did I survive, but wow, I hope Ryan never dies. I really won the jackpot.
Yes.
But, if I leave this guy, I'm not going to have the money. And I won't be as comfortable, and it will affect my relationships, and it will disrupt my family order, and it will disrupt this image of a fairy tale that we're building around here. And so they stay. They stay for much longer than they need to, because the belief in the rainbow, that's fiction for them. And so what we really want to bring you to is a point where hopefully the rainbow is just as real to you as what you're currently experiencing.
Yeah. Well, you said here, freedom begins the moment you stop cooperating with a system that requires your self-betrayal. Oh my God, that's powerful. That is so powerful.
Yeah, just drop that in there. Boom.
Oh my God. I mean, there are just so many insight alone does not liberate us. The one, I put OMG beside this one. What she had mistaken for self-trust was actually self-protection.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to talk about that for a little bit, because I think that ties into this. and I'm fascinated to see what you think about this whole authenticity thing, right? Which is like just a buzzword that's, I feel like to this degree, it's
Everyone's
like thrown around. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand manifestation. I can't stand, authenticity. I can't even stand trust yourself anymore, because the reason is because the fluffiness of it. Yes. It's not that there's no truth to it. There is no truth, right? Whatever truth there is the truth that we choose, right? The only truth is that everything's changing, right? So there's so much fluff to it that people can't really see themselves in it, though, right? And there's
the problems are in the nomenclature is not actually, the nomenclature is a definition. And so we all have to agree on the definition. And many people, when they use the word authenticity, are simply, first of all, they're not particularly awakened, and they're just using it as a buzzword,
and
so
it
they
just
deflate it of all
that
context.
Feels good, right?
Yeah, it's like Brene Brown. I just read an incredible interview with her in the Financial Times where she said that's the problem. They bastardized the word vulnerability to the point where now it means live tweeting your bikini wax, and that's not what vulnerability means. That's it. Or the word honesty. So let's just make a decision to, if the words work for you, that's terrific, but to define the words when we do use them. When I choose to use a word like authenticity, what I mean is genuineness. I don't actually mean I am who I am, deal with it. I just mean this is it. It's good, it's bad, it is exactly what it is. There is no embellishment that's needed here. I am genuine. And that's basically all that means. If it works, it's honest. And if it doesn't work, then don't use the word.
Yeah.
It's the point that I think maybe we need to get at here ties back to one of the lines that you so brilliantly underlined, which is insight is not enough. Many people understand the words, intellectualize the words, absorb the language. That makes them a lot harder to catch when you're coaching them, and when you're trying to genuinely help them to become not only free, but also have attained their results so that they can more freely feel free. They're not conditional, but it does help. When that's the case, I always ask people to be honest within themselves. They don't have to be honest with me. It's fine. I don't care. You don't owe me anything. But just be honest with yourself. If the results of your life do not please you, if you have not yet arrived in one or all three departments of your life, then at least have the wherewithal within yourself to say, there's something here that I'm probably not getting. And from there, you'll have a little bit of humility, and you'll be able to go beyond superficial insight and into an actual operational understanding of the work, which will get you your results.
Oh, that's so good. You know, it leads me to, like, if I think of myself, I think I'm actually being authentic when I'm doing nothing. Yeah. Like when there's nothing in the space. I think I'm my most authentic when my space of allowing is at its greatest. You know, like when I was driving over here, I was like, oh, my only job is how can I have the greatest state of allowing, to allow you and myself and to all this to come together for the co-creation. I work for the co-creation, right? Yeah. I actually feel like in a 3D reality, I'm almost being my most authentic when I'm being inauthentic. Because when I'm being inauthentic, I am then moving towards my own authenticity. And I'm my most authentic when I'm being inauthentic, because I'm closer to it than I was the moment before I admitted something to myself. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the lie is within them, right? It's fine. Like
the completion of that circle. I hope people followed that, but you said it. I mean, it's extremely logical, and it lines up, by the way, with Dr. Kristen Neff's work on self-compassion. Really? It's the self-reflection piece. The more acute the awareness, the more authentic you're able to be. We're not authentic when we're just presenting the this is who I am kind of idea. It's when we fully understand what we actually are. To my mind, I think I'm most genuine or most authentic when I found a new cat.
Yes.
That's Keren. You want to see 5-year-old Keren? Give me a cat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just wait until I meet
What does she
Dan.
do? What does she do when she
can't see anything else?
Oh, Kitty. Really? Really? I know. Dan needs to meet you.
I know.
I mean, God.
He and I are meant to be.
I know.
And I feel that way about all the cats.
Oh my God.
Truly.
Have you always been like that?
Yes.
Really? And it's not a dog thing. It's a cat.
I love dogs. We have a dog, the best dog in the whole world. It's not the same.
What is it about a cat personality that
I respect them. Listen,
is it?
I think it's always been too visceral for me to actually explain. I find them magnificent and adorable
Really?
and cute, and I just love them. But if I were to get tactical, I've learned so much about manifestation, sorry for using that word, from cats.
Yeah.
I think all the time about the difference between my dog, Lila, and my kitty cat, Waffles. You know how much I love Waffles.
Yes.
What a princess she is.
Yes.
So Lila is obsessed with us. She is a little pathetic every morning with the, I love you so much, please love me back. And so every now and again, I just kind of walk past her. It's like my relationship with my mother. You love me too much. Waffles wakes up, walks to her dish, and sits and just looks at me. Like, it is now time to feed me. Her Majesty is hungry.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm like, of course, do you want to eat Waffles? What can I get you, Waffles?
Oh.
And I just really like that attitude. It's taught me a lot about self-respect, about self-worth, about behaving a certain way, about expectancy. And those are all really, really conducive to manifestation. The more, and again, this comes back to the heart of the work, the harder we work, the harder we effort, the harder we try to be something we're not and try to force things, the worse the outcome.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And you know what you just described with the cat, it's like you're in full service, and when we're in full service is the moment that we see ourselves.
Yes. And that brings me back to how much I loved when you said it's when I'm doing nothing. Waffles doesn't need to do anything. She completely understands that the fact that when that animal steps out of her little carrier bag at the veterinary office,
Yeah.
you can literally see everybody go, oh, what a beautiful cat. And she's like, yes, I am. You're welcome. This is
Yes.
self-possessedness at its most miraculous.
Yes.
And not in an arrogant way. She just
No.
knows what she came here to do.
Isn't it funny that, you know,
And I'm sorry for the simplistic analogy for anyone who's finding this irritating.
no, this is great because
But it's a good analogy.
it
and no
really
analogy
is.
is flawless.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think this concept of nothingness, we can actually be doing our most.
Yeah.
Like there is a doingness there to nothingness, you know?
Until you stop the actual doing this. And you can actually chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite mantra, I don't know if I've told you this before, is show up needing nothing, receive all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, I just kind of got from the Waffles example that's Waffles,
Yeah.
right? Waffles is show up needing nothing, receive all, because, you know, the bag opens, the zipper opens, and Waffles is in full allowing of all of the, you know, the admiration and all of that, which actually is just as much about the other people as well.
Completely.
Right?
She's allowing us to adore her.
Yes.
And she's doing us a great service in so doing.
Yeah.
It's a joy to adore her. It's one of the great joys of my life.
And so how do people get there so that they can, like, you know, go out and have this self-adoration but not fall into ego?
Well, that's why I wrote the second half of Guilt Free. I had an epiphany after Gilded. As Gilded was going to press, you know how when you publish a new work or launch a new program, almost as it's going live, like 3 examples come at you where you think, oh my God, that should be in that work.
All the time.
All the time, right?
All the time.
So this is what happened to me, and I just came across a couple of people just got stuck in purgatory, or the one that really, really bugged me had been lying to themselves, really using the term abundance egregiously while only accumulating debt. Debt and abundance are not the same thing. And so I thought, how do I teach people what I know? And then I went back to an incredible moment in my life, and I found the analogy that allowed me to create this framework. When I was in my early teens, I was a chubby kid. I know, it's hard to imagine. And thanks to the great Jane Fonda and her lean routine,
This is so good.
and the 20 minutes at the end of that where she said, eat green apples and drink more water, I literally took that very seriously, and I lost, I think, 25 pounds. Really, a lot of weight for a 13-year-old. And that was a Herculean effort. To me, Gilded is the Herculean effort of learning to think differently, learning to eat metaphorically differently. But then, I've been thin for 30 years now. Pretty thin, pretty fit. which means I've developed a completely new lineup of habits, but also new systems and a new way to live. That was the difference for me between what I wanted to offer people in Gilded and in Guilt-Free. In Guilt-Free, I wanted to give you a system that is foolproof, that allows you to ascend, to get what you want, and to not develop an ego. And I came up with that 4-tier system, GOLD, G-O-L-D, which is real gold. And G stands for good enough, O stands for open, L for lit up, and D for devoted. Lest you start getting incredible results at lit up and start feeling yourself, we're going to get you right back to the state of showing up, expecting nothing, and get everything. And so I'll be happy to walk you through any of them if you want, but to me, that's the 4-tier manual to becoming waffles. Or to being like my cat and allowing things to just come to you and for you to truly start to adore life and for life to adore you back.
And what a great way to live, right?
Yeah. It's been much nicer for me these past 10 years that I've actually thought and lived this way.
Yeah. Well, I think, good enough is where you said where everything begins and where every old story ends. I love what you said about open when you said mistakes stop being indictments and start being data.
Yeah.
And then lit up, obligation gives way to enthusiasm. That's absolutely. And then even devotion. Devotion does not kill ambition. It refines it.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely adore that. You talk a lot about self-abandonment. Well, you actually said it right here. You said this is where your life stops being about what you get and starts being about what you give, without self-abandonment and without fear. I feel like, just relating this to, people are always wanting money, right? I feel like I call it the money conduit, which feels like, it's kind of like when you systematically, you talk about magnetism in here as well, right? You become the magnet for it, and you're in a state of a lot of times nothingness. It's like you walk in the room and you can feel when people are at a certain level, and a lot of times that there is a feeling of wealth sometimes when you can walk in the room. So how do you feel like this ties in, like this system that you've built, right? How do you feel like this, you called it like a thinking system.
It is a thinking system.
You called it a thinking system. How do you feel like this thinking system sort of ties in with money?
First of all, everything ties in with money.
Yeah.
Everything applies to money, everything applies to love, and everything applies to your health. And those are the 3 departments of your life. If anybody feels that there are other departments, please feel free to share them with me. But those are the biggies for people. And money tends to be the one that people are most aggressively seeking. And I like to say it's the easiest one. So congratulations if that's where your hiccup is. The reason I say that is, and I said this well before I became wealthy, just for the record, is because I understood what was required of us. What is required to switch from a poverty mindset to a wealth mindset is to understand the difference between the person who wants the thing and the person who has the thing. That's it. That's it.
So
2
good.
different states. I cannot be the person who wants the thing.
There.
I must be the person who has the thing.
Yes.
Gold is a thinking system that slowly but surely rewires your thinking and your actions, lines up your actions to the point of no longer behaving and thinking like the person who wants the thing and thinking and behaving like the person who has the thing.
Yeah.
Let's give a tiny example from it, like from grounded or good enough. Why do I insist on talking to people about being good enough when many people think that they do believe that they're good enough, especially since they've read Brene Brown's books and they truly feel like they've done the work? Because the vast majority of us are still walking around this planet almost all day, every day, with a low-grade hum of, I'm not okay, or this is not okay, or things are not okay.
And that's where they come from.
And that's where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And we develop it, I don't know, as children, in high school. It's exacerbated by our peers. But there's this idea that I'm somehow not measuring up, or the world is somehow not measuring up. And therefore, you're in a constant state of not asking for what you want, but really harping on the I don't have it part. That's where the want becomes anathema to magnetizing to you what you really want. So the first thing you got to start fixing, that's why it's the floor, is I am okay. Here are the ways in which I am okay. And I offer people anti-rules with every single one of these laws so that you can start really understanding how I think and try to embody all of these as practices. And one of them is assume everybody likes you. That's Waffle's secret, but that's also become my secret. I know I look super extroverted, but I spent most of my life thinking I'm not okay, I'm fat, I'm not as smart as, which is actually really weird because I was literally the top student in absolutely everything. And I don't have the right parents and I don't have the right circumstances and it's just not working out for me. And therefore, everyone I'm dating is technically out of my league. Which means I have to assume that they're not going to like me, which means I have to work really, really hard for them to like me. And so this becomes a huge correction, the people-pleasing, the fawning, the performance, right?
Yes, and where does this come from, by the way?
Generally, I mean, it depends on who you're following, but if you're going with Jungian psychology, childhood, you are taught very early that you are, or even the books of Kristen Neff or the books of Brene Brown, by the time we're 2 years old, we know whether we're good eaters or not as good as our brother. And if we're cute or not that cute, or how many gold stars you've gotten, et cetera, et cetera. So we're picking up these cues. And by the time we're around 7 to 10 years old, we've actually started to contort our behavior in a certain way to sort of defend ourselves against the wounds of feeling inferior in any way. And so these mechanisms, they become only exacerbated in high school and beyond that. By the time I'm in my 20s and 30s, which is really a shame because I was very cute. I'm like just so desperate for them to like me.
Really?
So desperate to walk into rooms and hope that they hire me. So hoping to be chosen.
Yeah.
And I pulled it off famously. I did. I married a tall man, which, as you know, is the apotheosis of everyone's experience. He was also abusive. I did get jobs. They were nothing compared to what I do now. They were not light me up type jobs. So I essentially just lowered and lowered myself. One day, I made the decision to assume that I like me, and therefore, they're going to like me. Most people will like me. Now, I understand it's not all people. That's okay. We all have different strokes. But most people will like me. I'm cool with most people. Why not? I remember showing up on a date with my husband, Ryan, just thinking, it's fine. I came from work. I like this outfit. I hope I like the guy.
Wow.
And that was it. It's a completely different vibe when you show up thinking, I like me, I hope I like them, versus, oh my gosh, I hope they like me. And that's where the behavioral change really starts to become embodied.
Yeah. I could see how that would be a huge energetic shift, like you say, in all of those areas.
And in money. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and in
Deservingness is a very big problem for people. I am not okay. I need the money to be okay. I cannot be okay without the money.
Yeah. You've always been good with money, right? You have?
Actually, no, I was tragic with money.
You
I was
were?
always amazing at magnetizing a lot of money. I've always thought that I liked money. But again, because of my personal lack of self-love and my personal lack of self-awareness, what I was really only allowing money to do was just go through me. And I was just
you talk
constantly...
about in the marriage, you let him...
I let him manage the finances, which
was
absolute lunacy.
Yes.
I thought that investing was complicated and hard. This for a woman who did AP calculus and got a 4, which is not bad, thank you very much.
Right, yes.
And I also just was magnificent at getting the money and spending the money, getting the money and spending the money.
And when did that switch for you?
When I started to think differently about myself and about my prospects, and then also when I started to challenge what everybody was saying to me about money. And this, Elizabeth, is something I'd like you to consider for your upcoming book.
Okay.
Susie Orman and Tony Robbins lied to me egregiously. They said things like, if you didn't start saving in your 20s, in your 40s, it's going to be almost impossible for you to catch up. Investing is something that must be started absolutely early, or else the results will be very bad or not good enough. And by the way, challenge me. Read their books. I have.
I have too. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
There is even Dave Ramsey. Like, you got to pay off every dollar of your credit card debt before you can start,
I know.
before you can invest. Oh my God, I've had so many people go through the program. I'm like, no. Why not do both? We live in an and world. Thank God. And now we have people who have they pay off all their credit cards from their investing account and they still have money in the investing account.
That's exactly right. And
like,
especially when you
Jesus.
understand how interest works and compounding works and how easily that's going to cover one with the other. But that's another story. And Susie Orman also told me to stop drinking coffees because apparently my coffee habit was so expensive that I had to save that too. I mean, talk about a poverty consciousness.
It is.
And so I started to think very differently because in my mid-30s, late 30s, when I started discovering this work through not only great coaches, but of course the teachings of, say, Abraham, etc., I started thinking, well, actually, this is just a question of deservedness and feeling ready and feeling like you really do belong here and you do have all of the riches in the world. And I became very appreciative of the fact that I could easily have a lot of friends and I have good health and that I am sheltered. It wasn't my ideal house, but I'm sheltered, and that I have cats. And once I started to really appreciate just how good I have it, everything started to switch. I didn't save or invest a dime until I turned 40. I am now almost 50, and I'm a millionaire several times over. And by the way, if I decide to stop working this year, my wealth manager, Alan, shout out to Alan, always says to me, you're going to retire with $20 million, whether you like it or not. You can chill out. And so I don't know how many people need more than that. Personally, I think I'm going to be okay with 20 million. I don't need to fly private. I just want cats. And so, and they cost like $1. And so when you start to understand that that's not true, you can absolutely learn how to play this game. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let other people's standards deter you. Don't become fearful. You'll just go for it and you'll end up with whatever you end up with, but it'll still be better from assuming that the game is rigged and nobody likes you and this doesn't work out well for you. And that's why that's the floor.
Oh my God. I think everyone just needs to press rewind on that and listen to that about 50 times.
I know. And I'm living proof. Again, I'd like to remind everybody, and I talk about this in Gilded, I was broke as a joke. I was magnificent at losing money.
Yeah. It seems like to me that you brought an unlimited belief system into money rather than waiting for the circumstances to change, because when you were just talking about even just the language that you were using, it was almost like a very present moment, very ongoing nature that you suddenly started using with regards to yourself and money. And when you believe that money is unlimited, then there's no risk.
No, none. And that moves you into open. So the problem with just making the assumption that you're not good enough or not okay or that things are not okay is you automatically move into a myopia state in which all you can project with your thoughts is one outcome, and it's usually not a good outcome. Open, the second step, becomes available to you once you do assume that you're good enough. This is where you go from one possibility, one possible outcome, to a totality of possibilities. And then you can start to get frisky and play a different game. This is where I really like to give an example of when my game changed completely in money, and I love this story, so I'd love to share it.
Yes,
if it's okay. The first thing I did was I took a huge gamble on an apartment on the Upper East Side that was absolutely glorious. It was at number 2, 75th Street. Just so you know, a single-digit address on the Upper East Side is money.
I love this.
I'm in a townhouse. It's $4,400, which was way outside my budget at the time on account of I hadn't worked in a very long time and whatever. It sucked, but it was beautiful. It had these gorgeous brass chandeliers and a massive bay window and a fireplace upon which I placed a picture of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. It was the kind of apartment that I needed to live in. I knew that I would be Larry Gagosian's neighbor, and I'd live across the street from Roman Abramovich, who at the time was the richest man in the world. I was in the right frequency, so I had to have it, Elizabeth. Now, a couple of months later, rent's due. And as per usual, I have $37 in my account.
Oh, God.
Which means I do not have $4,400. But I already have this mindset. I've done a lot of work at this point, and I start to understand, number one, everything is okay. You do not panic. You relax. You find your way back to relaxation. In relaxation, instead of panicking, freaking out, thinking of emailing my landlord or any nonsense like that, I thought, where are the opportunities for abundance that I'm not considering right now.
Oh, I love this.
And I started to think chillax thoughts like, I usually have some cash lying around because I never clean out my handbags or my jackets or my sofa cushions.
Yes.
Would you believe it? I found almost $300 in my house that day. Now I realize that's not $4,400,
Right,
but it's $300. Then I thought, wait a minute. I have a lot of credit card debt. Do you know what credit card debt means? Credit card miles.
Oh.
And that's when I had another really interesting thought, because I'm already feeling friskier. And it was, why be sad in New York when you can be sad in Miami? Mm-hmm. Cash in the miles, get on a plane, go to Miami, sort it out there. What's the problem? Doesn't cost anything.
I love
Call
this.
your best friend, tell him you're going to come crash for the weekend. Enjoy. And by the way, I cashed them in for a first-class ticket because, you know,
Oh
when
my
in
God,
Rome.
this is getting better and better.
Then I get on the plane.
I love this.
And I'm seated next to Latin American superstar Lilia Estefan, who's on Univision. She's a big, big star. And I had actually met her at a dinner months before, and she remembered me. Lily is not only delighted to clink wine glasses with me, but she has a selfie stick with her and starts making videos of our adventure. And I told her that I was about to start a coaching business and I was really excited about it. She's already posting, I'm here with my life coach, Keren Eldad.
Oh my God.
Elizabeth, my DMs blew up that weekend. My Instagram blew up that weekend. I started getting contract upon contract. I manifested enough money to pay that rent and then some. And I believe that that was the exact moment when I made the decision that doing the opposite is my religion. That was what fixed and sorted me out forever. Because just the openness to maybe I won't die, maybe I won't default, maybe I won't have a bad credit score, maybe I can sort this out, maybe I can allow this to more relaxedly come to me, paid off. And that was that.
Oh my God. Okay, so I love this. I love this so much. So there's this, like, I call it split.
Oh, by the way, there's pictures. This is a real story.
Oh God, this is
A lot
so
of people
good.
are like, did that really
So
happen?
good.
That really happened.
So inspirational to everyone. I mean, so, okay, so you went for it. So I talk about certainty, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of like whenever, like I decide something and I am certain about
The
it.
best word.
And it's not that I know the result, it's that I'm certain about what my role and how I'm going to position myself within it, right? Yeah. So I relate that to you getting on the plane and you going and hang out with your best friend, like you're certain about this is what I'm doing, doing, right? Split energy would be if you put energy into the what if this doesn't work.
That's exactly right.
What I notice about your story is that you were not willing to put energy into this what it doesn't work. However, for a lot of people out there who are like holding on to the guardrails, they think that they're more responsible and logical if they're thinking about backup plans and
exactly
options
right.
and all that. And I'm like, no.
No, you're not.
Right? But your story perfectly exemplifies that, by the way, that backup plans, I think, are bullshit.
They're absolutely horrible. I always say there's only plan A, there is no plan B.
Yes.
And what that means is you're clear about the fact that you are going to the top, period, the end. And that's essentially it. That's all you need to be clear about. You don't need to be clear about how, about which of these fountains will lead to the sea, but you just understand that you're getting there and therefore you can take the risk comfortably. And that brings you into a yes and. Clarity or certainty beyond logic, I love those terms as well, is just the understanding that I am going to there and this is what I must do. And it is uninterrupted by split focus, which is yes, but, or yes, and. You know what really gets my goat, Elizabeth? Don't worry, I never act on it and I never say anything because, I don't think it's nice. But when somebody says something like, I've been listening to you for a really long time, I know you're my teacher, I really want to work with you, but I can't afford it.
I get that all the time.
And I know, I get it.
Crazy.
And by the way, and all I can think of is I can flash back to my first coach, Jen Sincero, who thank God I worked with because she no longer works privately with anyone. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, I cannot hear those words come out of my mouth. I know I do not have that money, but I knew that I must find it because I must work with this person. This is my next stage. I will figure this out. And I will figure this out. Changes everything in life.
It does. And you knowing yourself, I would say, and that's kind of a laxy-daisy even phrase, right? But you knowing yourself is what gives you the power to go, I'm going to figure this out. And for me, when I say I'm going to figure this out or I have decided, it's like it feels very vertical. It feels very like, okay, it's done, right? Even though I'm not thinking it's done, because then I need to kind of see what it looks like. There's an energy of it's done, though. And that does not allow me, if you will, or I guess I don't allow myself to negotiate around it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No
Because
excuse.
all I'm doing then is I'm like grabbing the back of my shirt and just pulling myself backwards over and over and over again, right?
I love that imagery. I always think about racehorses that's reining themselves in. You want to be a racehorse or do you want to be reined in? Because you do have to make the decision. And again, that's why I wrote this. I really wanted people to start understanding that you cannot be both the racehorse and the jockey. It does not work that way. That's reining them in. You have to make a decision about where you're going to go. And if you really want the results to please you, you're going to have to let yourself be a yes and person and be open to more possibilities. And not say terrible things like, I can't afford this. That's a terrible thing to say.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
It's excluding yourself from the very beginning.
My wonderful husband, I really want to buy a country house. Every time he says, that's not in our budget, I keep saying, I love you so much. Please stop using that phrase. It's okay that it's logical. Not a problem. I understand where you're coming from. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're being a pragmatist.
Yeah.
But you can say not now. You can say not the one. Don't use that phrase.
God, I feel like you are giving people finally, and thank you for this. I'm so grateful. I feel like you're giving people the tools to actually put some tangibility to this know yourself concept that I just used, right? Because I think so many people, they feel like they know themselves after a yoga class when they're just feeling in bliss, right?
Yeah. Or after ayahuasca.
Or something like that, right? But like really,
that's just
knowing yourself is what you did when you got on the plane because here's the difference. Knowing yourself as a function of getting behind yourself is completely different than knowing yourself, you feel good.
Yeah. To understand yourself, you have to find out what you're made of.
Yes.
And to have to find out what you're made of, you have to take opposite action and put your money where your mouth is again and again. You want to know what you're made of? Put your money in the market and just go through a time when everything tumbles to the ground.
Yes.
One of my favorite heroes of investing is, of course, the man I like to call my grandfather,
Warren
Buffett.
I know.
And Warren Buffett, outside his office, has a framed copy of the New York Times on the day the stock exchange completely collapsed and almost wiped him out, 1987. Why? To remind himself that investing is a long-term game and that the market will always ultimately bounce back and win. So there's nothing to be afraid of. When you start playing that game and you don't pull your money out of the market and you don't freak out and you don't become gun shy and just swear off anything ever again, you really start to understand that you are Lieutenant Dan in the storm. You are ready to have some fun around here.
That's so good. All right, so good. I know we have to wrap this up here, but you said something like you know what you're made of, right? Yeah. So this definitely comes up in your book as well. It's when you're deciding what you're made of and you take away the power of everyone else deciding what you're
Absolutely.
made of. That's what you did in that moment you got on the plane. Look, you have so many stories that I just absolutely love. But that one where you got on the plane and that was the start of the whole thing, like you could have just sat in that apartment and just been like, I can't do this, or sublet it, or whatever.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Give it up.
You in that moment got behind yourself.
Yeah.
You actually got behind yourself when you chose the apartment.
Absolutely.
To be honest. It's just that you had to be a different version of you in order to meet that choice.
That's exactly right. And it's the same with business.
Yeah.
When you launch a business and you really know that, just like I knew about that apartment, this is my home, you will not do anything to fuck it up. You will figure it out. And that's where it takes you to the next level and next level. And then you asked about how do you not end up in ego again? Well, that's where devoted comes in, D. Lit up is where you become so
Yes.
excited that you just do the work and you continue to do the work and you become devoted to consistency. But devotion, real devotion, is about beginning to devote all of your work, all of your earthly everythings to the universe, to God, if you believe, and to other people. When you understand that none of this is for you, not only is money not real, none of it is for you, none of it is yours.
Yes.
It's the most relaxing thing, and you just understand that this is a flow that we get to swim in for a little while. Enjoy it. Do your best to just let it go through you. Never let it go to your head, because that means that the lows are going to take you out. And so you just start to behave in a completely different way. You become what I never thought I'd become, which is a relatively chill person.
Wow. Oh my God. Thank you so much for this. Thank you for writing this book too.
Thank you.
Guilt-free.
Thank you for reading it. Thank you.
Oh my
Elizabeth.
God. I absolutely love it. And I know.
Your opinion matters to me very much. You are a sharp cookie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, even just, I look at
Even
like,
though people's opinions should not matter to anybody.
well,
As I
having
say in the
you-
book.
having you come into my life. I mean, it's just.
Jessica Zweig.
I know. And then we were
Shout
sitting
out to
there.
our love.
I know. And then we're sitting there at the dinner, and I remember we were just like talking over people, and
Yeah.
then finally it was just like we just had to like sit together, and I was like, "Where have you been my whole life?" It's so great.
Here I am. I'm not going anywhere.
So great. I adore you.
Me too, my friend. And I really hope that this was very helpful to a lot of people.
Oh, I know it was. I know it was. Well, as I said at the beginning, like 60 seconds with you is helpful to the world. So now the fact that, we've spent almost an hour and we got to go through your book and, right?
Thank you for the chance to share this.
Yeah. So good. All right. So we'll see you next time.